Jason, thank you. Well, today we're learning On Broadway still expects construction to resume on the public market this summer, despite only receiving a small percentage of a grant funding requested from the state.
This coming one day before an agreed-to deadline with the city to provide that financing, construction documents, and a budget for that project. Drew Best joins us in the studio with an update on where this project stands right now. Drew.
Yeah, Cami and Chris, despite this week's financial shortfall, On Broadway President Brian Johnson says On Broadway will have all the necessary documents submitted to the city before tomorrow's deadline, and the project will remain on schedule, but with some budget reductions and other project elements on pause.
We still want to find a way to get there, but sometimes you have to make decisions that perhaps defer certain pieces of that project. And so we're going to identify what those items are that would still allow us to get to closing, but are items that could easily be added back at a later date.
Now, Johnson is remaining optimistic about the timeline, but the project delays have been well documented. This is how we got to this point. In January of 2022, On Broadway announced they were pursuing a public market project on the old Fort Square property, which they purchased a few months later. At the time, they were eyeing the summer of 2023 as the first projected opening date, which was pushed back. Moving ahead now to March of 2024, On Broadway says they reached 60% of their $12.5 million fundraising goal. They broke ground on the property that fall, hoping to have the public market open in time for, you guessed it, the 2025 NFL Draft. No more updates were provided until June of 2025, when we learned the project would be delayed until 2026 due to increased construction costs. In January of this year, it would be delayed once again. Green Bay's Redevelopment Authority granting an extension to On Broadway, who now estimates stores will be open starting in mid to late 2027. With that in mind, I asked Johnson if this new deadline should be seen as ambitious or realistic.
We feel pretty confident right now that the 27 timeline for us is very attainable and, quite frankly, at this point, necessary so that we can continue to move forward on the project. And I mean, because the longer you hold, you have holding costs, right? We own the building, we pay property taxes, you pay utility bills. We don't want to continue to do that.
The city issued a press release this afternoon about several projects that received state grant funding, and while not singling out any particular project, it included a statement from Mayor Eric Genrich, which read in part, quote, "We're supportive of them all and stand ready to assist however we can to move these transformational projects to completion for the benefits of our residents," end quote. Now, Johnson says while it is still too early to tell exactly what will be cut in their budget, all reductions will focus on non-essential portions of the project. Cami and Chris.